Now they broadcast, or you can have we have a tool that you can use that you can point them all to, that they can, so that we.
So that's the common use case. Come in, look at the name on the screen, click on it, connect, share my desktop, click to go away, and walk out of the room. That's just getting rid of the video cable. That's great, and the throughput's important and things like that, but it just gets rid of the cable. What we asked is what happens when the cable's not there. You should be able to do more than that. You should be able to share app windows and other content. And the metaphor of our user experience that we built everything around is a collaborative table with content on it, like paper. Okay? So if you look at those meetings, people will put paper on a table and say, let's talk about this. Let's keep this in view, but maybe we'll discuss it later. That's how we built this user interface. So let me show you. I can bring up the UI again, and I'll share just that Slack window by clicking App Window, and I can share any of these app windows. Let's do my PowerPoint view, so that's cool. So now I've got PowerPoint in that window. It was a talk I gave yesterday. And I've got my desktop, but those are two different things because I've cast them both differently. So there's my desktop view, and I've shared just an app window. App window sharing is really key because you don't want to share email alerts and things like that, right, during your presentations. And I used to teach computer science, and when I would go to the lecture, I'd be stressed out about what's on my laptop. You know, when you do that moment, you plug it in and it's on the giant screen behind you, and it's like, oh no, the email, I got grades on there or something. So you'd always have to stop somewhere and clean up your desktop to be able to share. That's not good. When we do user experience design, a big thing we talk about is cognitive burden or cognitive stress in meetings. How do we get that gone? So a lot of it is, I don't want to share this, I want to just share that piece of content. So you can do that as many times as you like. So if I wanted to just share another app window, like there's my Slack channel, I can throw that up as well. Okay? If I don't have an application window open, but I've got content on my disk that I want to share, I just click this media file share button, and it will open my, let's actually share a video. I'll share some of my favorite TED Talks. This one's a good one. Okay. So now you can see video performance too, right? I mean, I was showing you desktops moving around, but this is a good way to look at synchronization of audio and video. And in a Wi-Fi environment like here, it's really challenging. But we don't use a traditional H.264 encoder because that has to send data continuously on those iframes. And if you drop packets, it starts to get really high jitter. So we have a custom encoding architecture that will actually happens a lot on that GPU, which is the really high performance game, thanks to the game market. That thing is really, really high performance. So 4 pieces of content, desktop, app windows, that. I can put as much as I want on there. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's put some, I don't know, okay, how about architecture pictures? I'll do that. All right. So you can throw as much content as you want into a meeting from any source, and you can do it from as many sources as you have. So most people come into meetings with more than one device, and you should be able to cast content from either one. I was in watching one of our big oil and gas customers use the product. I travel around and sort of figure out what do we want to do next, where are the user experience wrinkles and things. And they were doing a drill well analysis, and the guy had PowerPoint, full screen, and realized, oh, I took a bunch of photos of the wetlands, and I can't show them. Oh wait, it's solstice, and he opened his phone and mirrored it. I'll do that, mirrored it to the screen. So it's the same user experience on every platform. And that's really important because again, it's more cognitive burden. If I have to somehow relearn a user interface here or download other app, so I can connect to theater by just clicking on it and then typing that code. Now you'll see a second device join. That green guy means that's my phone. And I will mirror this screen to the display. So there's my Twitter feed on my Android phone. Okay? So that's just as easy as everything else. Now here comes the question, though. I can't hardly read that. It's so much content. Why would I want to do that? Well, it's back to the metaphor of really it's about context switching and parallelizing your meetings. It's not for me to like look at all that at the same time. It's for me to organize my content and be able to switch quickly through sources. So I'm going to add another source so we can look at doing that from the iPad too. So connect through the iPad. I'll add a couple, some of my climbing photos. That'll be good. Okay, so I've got content for the iPad, 3 devices now, and I can control that content a bunch of ways. I can rearrange it by just using the touch interface. And again, I can do this on any device. I could do that on this phone as well. These are great touch interfaces you brought with you to the meeting. I can double tap one, and that means let's focus on that piece of content and then put it back. I can move content to the dock. And what that does, even that video I'll throw out for now, let's go ahead and just look at these things. That allows me to put stuff into context so that if somebody says, you know what, let's re-look at that marketing video. I'm not sure we want to spend that much money for that clip. Let's pull it back in. You can pull it back into your work surface intuitively and then share it. Okay, so if I want to go full screen on my Twitter account, I just do that. So that was me double tap and then say, go full screen. Okay, now all my content's in the dock, and I can bring it, like this video, back in. We even didn't want to constrain how you can control. This is called open mode. So we have a moderator mode. I'll talk about it in a minute. But in this mode, I can even control the video from that desktop. So I'm streaming it from that desktop. But this guy, of course, can play it, and I can, mute him if I want. Okay. Well, of course you want to do that because it's social convention defines the meeting, how people will interact. As long as the technology is somewhat transparent to social convention, then those are the technologies that win, that people love to use, because people like to work with other people. They don't really like to work with lots of devices and bells and knobs and things. You wanted to make it seamless and transparent. So that's what we worked on. We pull a couple of these back in. Okay. So I said the user experience is the same on all the devices, so iOS, Windows tablets, Android tablets. This is also a user interface because it's touch enabled. So I used to have these debates with the Perceptive Pixel guys that did the multi-touch originally about where touch would win, right? Is it going to be the touch in my pocket or is it the touch in the room? We don't want you to have to pick. So I can come up here and do the same thing. Select double tap that and then say go back, or pull this video to the front and control it. I'm going to seek this guy forward. Okay? So it's the same UX, and over here I can see that I have the dock, like here's my Slack channel or something.
So it's no different in a way.
I'll just do my desktop to begin with.
You're going from $9.99 to $12.99, and then if you wanted to add additional, it's